TrueFuture strikes again. Access. Unedited access. Bigger isn't better, better is better. It's often defined by talents, teams, smaller teams, teams that make things happen. Surgical teams, production teams, sports teams.
When they need your change, I mean, you're a surgeon.
I'm hugely passionate about surgery. I would do it for no money because I knew how impactful it could be. And it's about impact, it's about legacy, it's about changing people's lives. But equally, like Stefan, was incredibly frustrated. And from where I was sitting, it was a piece around inefficiency, the amount of time I would spend traveling to other hospitals or centers to do things where you could empower, upskill those centers and really deliver and amplify myself beyond where I'm present. But also the global challenge of variation. You know, we talked about it many times. There's a huge amount of variation in surgery. You know, to me, it's unacceptable that a patient having the same operation that goes to one hospital, one surgeon, has a completely different experience and outcome than those going to another. And you know, at some point, when you take a step back and think why, it goes back to the points about we're not data-driven, it's analog, we're not transparent, we don't really capture what we're doing. Look at other industries, look at athletics, look at the aviation industry. Everything is recorded. You go back, you debrief. There's a game tape, you go back and you look at how can we be better? How can we work together to be better? It's not to pass blame, it's not to catch people out, it's to say, we can do better. You know, I think it's, you know, at some point sort of nags at you for years, you know, it's just kind of getting that, eventually just like, I have to do this. And
then you start a company.
Then you start a company.
And today we get in the car. This is the best. I said, how was your day? Well, let's see, we had surgeries in
Japan, Middle East, London, Newcastle, Canada, 5 states in the US. So it's a good day.
It was a good day. That's a good day. But you know, that connectivity, and again, I'm going back and we joked about it outside, but it's so true, is hello London, what do you have? Measurement challenge?
Yeah, so let me answer your question, London's question first, and then Joe, your question. Are you talking about the one from Smith and Nephew?
I mean, that was, to me, I want to make sure we pull that out because there's this Wizard of Oz curtain around healthcare. There's this Wizard of Oz curtain around surgery. And I think it's imperative for transparency. And as you said, when you said around the aviation industry, I just started to pursue my private pilot's license. And I'm reading all about that. Anything that happens, if you're taxiing your airplane and you clip something like a building going out, the NTSB has to get involved. Wow. Right? And there's an investigation, and the investigation is maybe it's secondary to put fault on, but to figure out what happened
to avoid,
and how can we avoid that, and then how can we improve? Because there's two mindsets. There's the improvement mindset, and then there's the avoidance mindset, because they're two distinct different behaviors.
Absolutely.
Right? But in healthcare and medicine, we aren't connecting enough things, and there's not enough, I guess, let's call it auditing once you become the god.
Yeah, I think healthcare does a fairly good job trying to avoid mistakes, but they do a very poor job on how to improve.
So you know, when we look at the economics of healthcare, right? You know, I think I checked 50% of the spend is in the hospital and/or doctors and clinics. 50% of the spend. Yet there's no examination of efficiencies in there, right? Where do we start with creating those efficiencies in these large monolithic institutions that have pretty much a legacy mindset? And so we're capturing data, analog, on a piece of paper for the most part, and we can't share that. So how do we get better?
So everybody works in their silo. There is the hospitals trying to protect their turf, the insurance companies trying to protect their turf, the surgeons, you know, they kind of left outside. So if we can create a system where the end user, i.e. the patient, has a little skin in the game and becomes a smarter shopper and forces the healthcare system to work together to create a better product, then we can do that. Because right now, the patients, they care about deductible and co-pays, but they don't care about cost of care, right? If I do a hip at Methodist for United Healthcare, it costs, the hospital bill is $50,000. If I do it at Memorial Hermann, it's $32,000. And if I do it at my surgery center, it's $17,500. So there's a delta of $32,000
For the same procedure.
for the same procedure. Same implant, same surgeon, same assistant, same everything. And in fact, I would venture to say that the quality at our facility is better than Methodist. And Methodist is a wonderful system, don't get me wrong. It's not the big boys, it's not the Strikers and the DPs of the world. They're not going to be the ones. And it's
They don't
people
want disruption.
No, and it's people like you who like disruption, who are going to push the envelope to do better. And that's why I'm always so excited when I get an audience, people that are outside the box thinker like you and Nadine. And hopefully we can make a difference. You know, if I die at age 80 and, you know, my eulogy to say he made a difference, I've accomplished my goal in life. So we hope. We can only hope.
Last couple days, rolling around inside of Innovate, watching yesterday's procedures with the Omnibot and the Think robot, and then probably just more importantly was the team you put together. I kept on referring to it as an indie pit team. You know, when you're watching them in the procedure, it was, you know, just amazing, the ballet going on. So did you always have that in your head when you designed that?
Yeah, I mean, when we, one of the motivator of building this surgery center is to get away from the institution and to have my team with me that loves to come to work. And so we handpicked these people because I've been working with them for years. They were unhappy in their job because of the institution, and they were all game. And so that made it very easy to create that culture that we really focus on in the operating room, because we feel that that improves patient care.
And you were an early adopter of robotics. I think Mako, what year was that?
I think it's back in the late 2008, we started doing the first Mako robots, and I thought it was great technology. I was an early adopter, and then moved on to the Think surgical robot after Mako was purchased, and always looking for the next technology that gets it a little bit better.
And so you've been driving this technology inside your ASC, inside of Innovate.
Yeah.
You know, and then what's the motivation to do that?
Yeah, so at the end of the day, we're all about patient care, right? We want to do better for our patients. We want to make sure that they get a better operation for a quicker recovery. And if I'm going to believe in robotics, it doesn't really matter whether I do it at the hospital. It doesn't really matter where I do it. I want to provide the best possible care, any institution that I work in. And so I wasn't going to build a surgery center to profit myself and not have the technology. So we just had to figure out how to get it in there.
And so in there, the last few days is you've got booms, you've got cameras, you've got, again, an elite team of surgical assistants, and you also had Proximie in there with you. It was fantastic to me as I was asking you a question, and you're like, Joe, hold on a second. Yeah, London, go ahead. I mean, does that ever get surreal to you?
It does. I mean, I love doing it because it's a rush, right? To expose what we do to other people is what I really enjoy doing. It gets a little stressful at times because you're trying to manage an operation. You want to do good for your patients, and then you also try to, you know, almost like perform here in front of TV. But I think I only become relevant if I can expose what we do to other people in the world. And that's my motivation. That's why I'm so excited about Proximie, because it's a platform that is so easy to use, and it's such high quality, and it opens the door to other people, whether it's surgeon, whether it's engineers, whether it's, high school students, we want to do a live broadcast to my daughter's high school, to the medical club, to see if they want to be part of that. If that stimulates a little girl to maybe become an orthopedic surgeon. So it's very exciting.